On the menu today, it's Chef Thomas Keller's soup and sandwich. There's little potato chips in there too. It's gonna be fancy though. Like turn it up to 11, fancy. Are you hearing me? I'm just not gonna give up without a fight. So hello everyone, and well, this is our kitchen, so please make yourself at home. Get comfortable, and I'm gonna make you something today. So, oh no, it has returned. The French Laundry Cookbook. Oh, going for the Oscar. We're very familiar with this cookbook over here, right? Chef Thomas Keller, and I've been making his recipes on and off for the past few years. Most recently with another cookbook is the Brioche cookbook. It's over there on the shelf there. Like the skirt steak from a couple weeks ago, that was a big hit. But this cookbook is much different than that one. Like, have you ever wanted to know what a bougie banana split looks like? No! Oh my God. I tried to act as fast as I could with this thing. Come on. Where's that freaking cherry? Oh, you see it there. Anyway, what could this guy have up his sleeve for soup and a sandwich? Grilled farmhouse cheddar, a tomato consommé, and butter fried chips. Grilled cheese, Kraft singles, and Wonder Bread taken to another level with slices of brioche and a beautiful farmhouse cheddar. Serve it with tomato soup just as Mom did when you were a kid, a dish straight out of an American childhood. Or Canadian. I had grilled cheese and tomato soup in Canada as a child. Refined into haute cuisine. Note that the tomatoes for the consommé need to drain overnight. Duly noted. Okay, so if we just flip over here it is. It looks magnificent and intriguing. I'm very much in the mood. Where's the ketchup for the grilled cheese? I'm joking. So we're gonna get to work here, but like he said here, you gotta start the day before. So let's go say hi to Night Guy. Welcome to the After Hours show. We're on my time right now. I'm nighttime Jamie. I'm the day before guy, and I hear we have a couple things we need to prep for this recipe before it can get underway in the future. TK's got us working late tonight. That's okay. So I'm gonna first start off with what I gotta do for this tomato consommé. So I have 18 to 24 very ripe tomatoes, I think. Gonna come to around 6 pounds worth of tomatoes, so it is a hefty bunch. So what we gotta do with these tomatoes, firstly, is core them and halve them. So I got my big bowl of tomatoes, and what's this science experiment? What are we looking at here? This is a dried chipotle pepper that's been soaking in hot water for the past half an hour to soften it. I bought a whole bag of them. Good thing, because I only needed the one. Well, you know, can find a purpose for these, right? It's got a really nice smoky aroma to it, so I'm digging that. Anyway, yeah, we're on my time right now, right? Nighttime Jamie does what nighttime Jamie wants to do. So I gotta drain it. That is softened. That's what we needed. So could use some company. Hell yeah. Okay, tomatoes into the Whiz Kid, and I need to pulse until they're finely chopped. Can't do it all at once. I wish, but I can't. So just a little at a time. And then I have my chipotle pepper. I need to also, I'm gonna include the seeds too, why not? In with some of the tomatoes, and we're gonna pulse until it's finely chopped. So there's tomatoes finely chopped by a food processor, as he has requested, and chipotle pepper is in there too. Great. All right, very clean, damp, kitchen cotton towel. I smell trouble with this next step here just because of the amount of tomatoes that I have, but I'm gonna try to do what he's asking. Tomatoes go into the towel. I feel like I'm using so many tomatoes here. I'm gonna need like a beach towel to make this work. It just works. Bring the edges of the towel up around the tomatoes. Just fits, holy hell. So he wants me to bring up the edges of the towel and tie with string to form a pouch. But this towel is not big enough for that, and I actually don't have a kitchen towel that's gonna fit the bill for that. I got another towel. And we're gonna have to do this in batches. In another damp towel, I'm gonna scoop up half of the tomatoes. They're gonna go into this one. Okay, so tie string around your towel. I got my 2 pouches of tomatoes here. Have you ever seen such a thing? I will never forget this moment for the rest of my life. Hang the bags of tomatoes from a rack in the refrigerator. Does he think I have a walk-in fridge? I don't have any way to hang these in the fridge. Thomas? Oh, I might be able to do that. Okay, I might be able to do this. If I tie this around that top shelf, does that kind of... Thomas? Now TK wanted me to take those 2 tomato sacks and have them hanging in my fridge from a rack over top of something that was gonna catch them, like a bowl or something, you know? So that they're draining overnight, okay? So let me show you. Don't laugh. I worked very hard on this. Now these 2 things are working together. They're tied together. If one falls, the other one falls. My tomato sacks are now officially dangling in my little fridge. Great work, everyone. What's the point? I've had enough of that for one night. We're gonna move on to our brioche dough. As he says here, Chef Jean-Louis Paladin makes some of the best brioche I have ever had. This is his recipe, and it's the one we use at the restaurant. So I need 1/3 cup of very warm water between 110 and 115 degrees Fahrenheit, nailed at 114. This is 1 packet, 1/4 ounce of active dry yeast, none of that instant rising stuff. I don't think he likes that stuff. And first let that set for 10 minutes. Then stir until the yeast is completely dissolved. So set the yeast aside. Gonna go fetch a friend. I hope everyone's standing for the silver fox. Silver fox. What we gotta do is sift in all these ingredients here. I got cake flour and all-purpose flour. That's cake flour. 2.5 cups, 300-ish grams. Give it a sift. Remember, I got this cool trick. This is my trick for sifting. Okay, stop before you go any further. The whole point of what I'm doing is that I'm sifting everything together, all the dry ingredients. So here's 2 cups, 287 grams all-purpose flour, 1/3 cup of sugar. Sift isn't big enough, is it? 2.5 teaspoons of sea salt, very fine salt. I don't want to do this. I could just blend it all together in the mixing bowl, but I'm just gonna stick to the page right now. Now that that has painstakingly been sifted together, I'm gonna get the dough hook attachment on there. Okay, so I gotta beat in all 6 eggs. Careful not to get any shells in there. Okay, so I'm gonna beat this on a low speed for just 1 minute. Low speed. Can you hear me? I repeat, can you hear me? I'm gonna slowly add in the yeast mixture. Slowly. And continue on a low speed for 5 minutes. So stop the machine and scrape off all the dough from the dough hook. We hope, right? We all hope. Okay, and we keep it going for another 5 minutes. Low speed. So this is what makes a brioche a brioche. Gotta have the butter. This is softened, unsalted butter, cut up into 1 inch in diameter cubes. Yep, except for that, like 20 tablespoons, 10 ounces, 287 grams. It's a lot. Adding in around 1/4 at a time and then beating for around a minute each quarter. So we're gonna keep it on a low speed. Next quarter, 1 minute. All the butter has been added in there. Now I'm just gonna leave this, keep it going for 10 to 15 minutes. How do you look? Ooh. Silver Fox, I can feel it. You need a break. Okay, bowl me. Oh, not the glass bowl. Large floured mixing bowl. And then this goes in. Okay, so there you go. Cover that up. I'm gonna let that rest in a warm spot for 3 hours. It's warm enough. All right, so that has doubled in size, which is great because this is getting late. So onto a very generously floured surface. Gently work the air bubbles out of the dough by folding it over a couple times. Back into the bowl it goes. Cover it up. And this goes into the fridge overnight. Easy. Good day to you. Did you get a chance to meet the night guy? Isn't he something, huh? Generously flour up the surface. The dough is in the fridge overnight. It did still manage to rise, but it is very chill. Onto my surface. The loaf pan I'm using is only slightly bigger than TK's, and I mean by like ½ an inch lengthwise and widthwise. Everything is okay. But considering that, instead of dividing this dough in half, let's divide it in like 60 and 40%. How about that? Pan has been greased up with butter, dough goes in, wunderbar. And now I need to let this hang out in a warm place for 3 hours. What are you gonna do with that leftover dough, you ask? It's a terrific question. So why don't we make some brioche buns with the leftover 30% of the dough. A little smaller than a baseball, a little bigger than a golf ball. Okay, this actually has absolutely nothing to do with the recipe. I'm going off book for these buns. I just thought it'd be nice. All my little projects are hanging out in the turned to off oven, but it's still kind of warm in there for 3 hours so that it rises. So have you checked the ingredients of your dishwasher pods before? That's how I start most of my conversations. This video is sponsored by Blue Land. Many dishwasher pods are full of chemicals and microplastics that can end up staying on your dishes after you've washed them. Worse, that residue can end up inside of you. Something to consider when you're doing something as commonplace as washing your dishes. Blue Land's dishwasher detergent tablets are 100% plastic free and made with certified clean ingredients that are safe to consume. Do these things even work? They do, wonders. Even on tough stains like coffee and wine, food that's been on the plate for a couple days. You know you got clean dishes and a clean inside. It's a win-win. Want some clean hands too? The hand soap has a permanent spot right here. Tablet into the bottle, no shaking or stirring, clean as a whistle. I've been using Blue Land since I first found out about them. You just set up the subscription so you just never run out, and it's one less thing to worry about. Oh, and Blue Land is sharing a special offer just for my viewers. All you gotta do is click the link below to get 15% off your first kit. Thank you, Blue Land. Okay. That's what we're looking for down there. So the primary focus with these things was not what's in them, it's what was draining from them, which was this right here, the good stuff. So if I pass that through a strainer, okay, he says that the next day you should have around 2 cups worth of tomato water. This is 3 cups worth, huge success. This is what all the hubbub is about. This is tomato consommé, and I need to keep this chilled until I'm ready for it. I would say the really funny, odd thing about this recipe, I don't know. Does this make sense to anyone else? Nothing else is to be done with the tomatoes in the towels. We've extracted what we wanted out of these, which was the tomato water, but like this part here has nothing to do with anything else for the rest of the recipe. Don't you find that strange? So here's the dealio. I made a sauce. with the leftover tomatoes because I found it odd that he had no mention of what to do with all that stuff. You jump through all these hoops for some tomato water and then you're like, what are you gonna do with all the leftovers? So, off to the side, back to work. Okay, so let's move on to our butter fried chips. Big fan of chips, big consumer of chips. Never made them myself, so, and they're fried in butter, so. Now I need 2 very small Peruvian purple potatoes. I have no idea if those are Peruvian, but they are purple, so I have that going for me. 2 very small baby red-skinned potatoes. Those are red. And 2 very small Yukon Gold potatoes. I know that's what those are. So yeah, I went to the store and found this little grab bag of peewee potatoes, and they had all the colors I was looking for, so I was like, okay, c'est bon. All right, so you might want to close your eyes for this next part. It is the mandolin. Don't worry, I have my safety glove here so I don't lose a fingertip. As thin as this mandolin will let me here, let's just guide the potato through. Paper thin or close enough. Being careful with this very sharp device here. I was on a roll there with the potatoes, so I was like, you know what, just do more. So this is way more than the recipe calls for. This is like a bag of potato chips, like family sized. Okay, I'm in the middle of doing something here. I forgot to record on the camera. In a saucepan is 1 cup of clarified butter. I prepared that earlier today. Roll the clip. So to make up some clarified butter, I melt butter over low heat without stirring. And then once that butter's melted, it separates into 3 layers. The one that's floating on the top is the foamy milk solid layer. I gotta skim that off. And then underneath that is the clear yellow clarified butter. That's what I'm after. Pour that and I leave behind the milky liquid bottom part.
Boom, clarified butter.
With the butter is 1 cup of oil. So I gotta heat this up until it is 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Deep frying the potatoes 2 to 3 minutes at a time. You know what? I should stop what I'm doing. Stop what you're doing. Okay, so this saucepan is... That saucepan was too small for what I was doing. So once you've switched saucepans to something that is much larger, and you're much more in control here, keeping them moving so they don't stick together. So he says that the potatoes actually cause the bubbles, and once the bubbles stop, that's when the potatoes are crisp. These are looking like potato chips. Do they have like a crispiness to them? Do they? Yes. Okay. That tastes like a chip. So what I need to do is just have these drain on the paper towel and just space them out a bit. Sprinkle the chips with some kosher salt. Okay, nice. Until I need them. So I'm just waiting for the bread to rise, so I figure why not just bake up these buns, see what it's all about. Yeah, brushed an egg glaze on there, little sesame seeds on top. 14, 16 minutes, Bob's your uncle. My test subject, because if these turn out, then the bread's gonna turn out. That's what I was thinking. Oh. So what I'm gonna do here is combine the 2 things that have absolutely nothing to do with the recipe today, the brioche buns and the tomato sauce. In the brioche bun goes to the tomato sauce. What are we making again? Freshly baked buttery brioche bun with homemade smoky tomato sauce. Want to call it now? Let's call it. We're moving on to the bread. It's been 4 hours rising. This is what it looks like. It has started to rise above the pan, which is good. That's what I was looking out for. Because TK said around 1/2 inch above the pan. After 4 hours, that's where I'm at, but I think that's gonna be sufficient. So the oven's set to 350. I'm gonna bake this for 35 to 40 minutes until it is well browned on the top. So after 38 minutes, this thing looks beautiful. And I have to immediately turn it over onto my cooling rack. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, no, 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 no. I greased up the pan. I added butter to the baking pan. What is going on? I added butter to the loaf pan. I did. I 100% did. Oh! I'm too upset to speak right now, but I have to keep speaking. I did grease up that loaf pan with butter prior to adding the dough in, but I guess I got a little too rough with it coming out of the oven, and I tried to turn it over onto this cooling rack, but it got stuck, so I just kind of did a, you know, and everything is ruined. I hope everyone is okay. The timing of those sirens. See these here? These are the butter wrappers. I keep these in a bag in the fridge and I use them to grease up pans like this. So this is what I use to grease up the pan. Okay, so I'm gonna be honest here. If not now, then when, right? I've been trying to make this video for like 3 or 4 weeks. Almost a month of me horsing around with this recipe. What has happened is I started it and then things in my life happened. You may or may not know what's going on, but I had to pause the video and everything that I had been working on, I would put in the freezer and then I would take it out of the freezer and I would start up the video again and then something else happened and I had to pause it again. Anyway, I was doing that with the brioche dough and then I baked the dough into a bread and then I freezed the bread. By the time I was ready to finish this video a couple days ago, I was assembling my grilled cheese. The brioche slices of bread were becoming crumbly. To illustrate a point here, here's a slice of my brioche bread and it is crumbly. It's delicious, but it's crumbly, which makes it incredibly difficult to make a sandwich with. I realize I am screwing up a grilled cheese sandwich. It does not make me happy right now. In fact, I'm quite embarrassed because this is like the first thing I ever learned how to make in my life. It's a grilled cheese sandwich, and I can't do it. I scrapped everything, and I've been parading around all day as if nothing ever happened, and I have my new brioche loaf of bread. I'm not gonna go to the store to buy a loaf of bread here because I have this, and I want to use what I've worked so hard on. So let's cut out some slices of bread here and use what we do have here. Okay, well, there's a slice of bread. We can use that. We can use that. So next up, let's prep the cherry tomatoes. Those are gonna go into our tomato consommé. And I need a couple green ones, a couple yellow ones, and a couple red ones. See that the tomatoes have been peeled. He doesn't mention anything about that, but I shall. Just like carve a little X in the skin, and then those go into boiling water for like 10, 20 seconds. Look how easy it is to peel the skin off of that. Those are now ready for prime time. It is time for the cheese. And this is the big milestone for me. Now remember that we're not just making a typical grilled cheese sandwich. This is a grilled farmhouse cheddar cheese sandwich. And that means I need some white farmhouse cheddar cheese, which I had no idea what that was, but it is a thing. Now this is made from only one source. It's not like made in a factory or anything like that. It's made on a farm. This is made from raw unpasteurized milk and it's been aged for 60 days. Apparently it takes less time to age a farmhouse cheddar than your typical cheddar cheese. And then this is also drier and it's flakier than other cheddar cheese. Let's demonstrate, shall we? So I picked up this really cool cheese shaver. Let's take it for a test drive. I need paper thin slices. Oh, hell yeah. Aim for around 6 good slices. I've eaten so much butter today because of the brioche bread, but this has a buttery vibe to it too. It's complex, kind of nutty, but smooth. So these are my nicest slices of bread right here. You need to handle these like fine china. I got some leftover clarified butter here. I've been using this today because it doesn't burn, or it doesn't burn very easily. So clarified butter on one side of each slice. take 6 slices of the farmhouse cheddar, your nicest slices, and those go on this slice of bread. Gentle, gentle, gentle. So I need a non-stick pan. Don't need to grease it up. Keep it dry. Medium heat. Check to see if that is hot enough. I would say so. There we go. Wow. So I'm looking for each side of the sandwich to be golden brown. Cheese needs to be melted. I'm only turning it once. So the sandwich is cut on the diagonal to create 2 triangles. And then some of the potato chips. Lastly, here's the tomato consommé. It's been chilled, very much so. You know, I made it weeks ago, then I had it in the freezer and I thawed it out. Salt into the tomato consommé to taste. I need a red, cherry tomato. I'm gonna use a yellow one and then a green one into, this is a coffee mug, but this is what he's using. Pour in tomato consommé into the mug. Not too much. Okay, I'm matching to his cookbook photo here. He has removed the crust off the sandwich, so I'm gonna do the same. And then he's only using, I swear, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Around 8 or 9 chips on the plate. There is a seed in my consommé. How dare there be a seed in my consommé? But I cannot get that seed. The seed shall remain. Order up! Now the tomato soup, aka tomato consommé, is served chilled. It's nice. No, don't dunk it. Yes! I'm not gonna lie to you and say that this video hasn't been a thorn in my side for however long. I'm thrilled that A, I've reached the finish line, and B, that it was actually a delicious finish line. I loved everything, even portion-wise. That was appropriate for me today because I've been snacking on things throughout the day. There was no more, no less than I needed. It was just perfect. How happy am I that I was able to scrounge up a couple slices of that brioche. Buttery, soft, sweet, a little bit, because there's sugar in there too, but holy hell, that goes well with a grilled cheese. And with that farmhouse cheddar, which again, as I described it, is very smooth. It's got a smooth vibe to it. It really is remarkable what some salt can do here. Because these chips, prior to salting them, I was like, okay. And then I added the salt, and then I let them sit in the salt for a little bit. And the salt sticks to the chips. Now all of a sudden they taste like they came from a bag. What else did I do? Oh, the tomato consommé. And I was gonna speak very highly about this thing because it has a very strong tomato flavor in there. And then it has the smokiness from that chipotle pepper. It is very nice. I say all that and then I remember what it took for me to make it. The biggest takeaway here is to get some of that farmhouse cheddar because that was spectacular in a grilled cheese. 2 thumbs up. Okay, this was Jamie and TK. Bon appetit. Au revoir. I'm just not gonna give up without a fight.